Do you think you're a high performer at your job? Do high performers tend to rate themselves highly? What about low performers? Do you think they are aware they're low performers, or is their perspective skewed somehow? These are questions Robert Etchinger, Michael Lombardo, and David Orwich asked in their book, 100 Things You Need to Know Best People Practices for Managers in HR. I think every manager and HR professional should be familiar with this book. The authors pose questions and then give 5 possible answers. They then follow up the question with the most scientifically supported and well-researched data and add how confident they are of the answer. So today's question is, how do high performers rate themselves compared to the ratings of others? A, rate themselves higher than others rate them. B, rate themselves the same as others rate them. C, rate themselves lower than others do. D, rate themselves lower than others do and lower than low performers. Or E, rate themselves the same level as low performers. The correct answer is D. They rate themselves lower than others do and lower than low performers. And how sure are the authors of this answer? The answer is solid, meaning extensive research supports the answer and it is widely agreed upon. The findings are not likely to change in our lifetime. The authors point out that in study after study, high performers rate themselves lower than others rate them, and low performers rate themselves higher than others do. Yes, you heard that right. The people knocking it out of the park often think they're just scraping by, while those struggling may think they're the star of the show. If you ever worked with a colleague who talks a big game, but then disappears when the real work starts, you've seen this in action. Low performers may fail to recognize their relative lack of skill, possibly due to the lack of understanding of what excellent performance really looks like. High performers, on the other hand, are more self-critical and have higher expectations than themselves. Additionally, high performers may undervalue their abilities, possibly due to overestimating the capabilities of others. It's a matter of calibration compared to others. High performers may not know how good they are. Imagine this, it's 1889 and Vincent van Gogh is sitting in his small studio in France. Paintbrush in hand, he's creating what we now consider to be some of the most breathtaking art ever put to canvas. But at the time, he thought he was a failure. He sold just one painting in his lifetime. Fast forward to today, it is estimated that the collective value of Van Gogh's entire output, sketches, drawings, and letters, would be somewhere in the range of $8 to $20 billion, possibly more if you include private sales and the premium for masterpieces not likely to ever come to market. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, faced numerous setbacks and failures throughout his political career, and maintained a humble demeanor and frequently expressed self-doubt. However, history remembers him as one of the greatest leaders in American history. Take a modern example. A study in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that employees who overrated their abilities were more likely to underperform and even face termination. Turns out overconfidence doesn't just annoy your coworkers, it can take your career. Meanwhile, a Harvard Business Review study showed that leaders who accurately assessed themselves and listened to feedback were far more likely to succeed. Makes sense, right? If you know your blind spots, you can actually do something about them. So what's the takeaway here? High performers often underestimate themselves, and low performers often overestimate themselves. And that means self-ratings, while interesting, are not always reliable. That's why businesses use 360-degree feedback, bringing in supervisors, peers, direct reports, and even customers. Because sometimes the people around you see your strengths and weaknesses far more clearly than you do. So pay attention to consistent patterns of overrating or underrating oneself, as such tendencies can be highly revealing and can provide valuable insights. And next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm not that great at this, pause. You might just be Van Gogh in disguise. Minus the whole ear situation.
John Paul here. If you like this video, check out the HR Insight YouTube channel where we have more videos just like this. Make sure to click subscribe so you get notifications.